starting the tour with spooky, ghosty vibes.
So we're on the third floor of the Lemp Mansion. When this was first built, this was basically just an attic space. And as the family started to move in, this became the quarters for the cooks, for the folks who took care of the laundry, and for the gardeners also. You're now in the Elsa room. Who's in the Elsa room tonight? Congratulations. This is the most haunted room in the Lemp Mansion. And I know that because there's a little placard right out front of the door that says so, so I'm absolutely sure of that. But the main reason that this room got such a reputation for being haunted, we don't know when they did it, but several decades ago, somebody cut a little cubby hole in the floor here. And what they've done over the years is to write up their experiences, drop them down in there so other people can take a look at them. What we found out 3 weeks ago is somebody came in here and stole all of the years worth of notes that were in there. So we have no idea what happened to them. So we're kind of starting over again. So please leave something good for the folks to read. There used to be a Ouija board in there, but a couple was spending the night using the Ouija board. Something went really bad. And they called the staff and said, we'll be back in the morning to pick up our luggage because we're sitting out in the parking lot and we are not going back inside anymore. Wow. Some of the things that we have read, we had one that said, I saw an apparition walk by the front door there. Another one said it was the best granola bar I ever ate. So kind of a wide range of things. Hopefully you'll be able to add something to it tonight. Two of the main stories that we have heard, one is an old one, one is about 2 months old. The oldest one, though, is that the couple was spending the night here. The lady said that she felt somebody sitting on the edge of the bed. She looked up, she saw a gentleman sitting there. She said she thought it was her husband. She looked over, she saw her husband. That's when the screaming started. They both jumped out of bed. They said the figure got up, walked into the bathroom, just kind of disappeared into a mist. The newest one that we heard about, probably about a month or two ago, a young lady was spending the night. She said she was just basically sound asleep, and she felt 4 distinct footprints that go across the bed. She said she could actually see the depression in the bed. I asked her what she did. She said, I just lay perfectly still until the morning. First light, I got the hell out of that place. So that's what she told us anyway.
You guys are fun.
But the main entity that keeps coming up is referred back to as an older gentleman, sometimes wearing one of those old bowler type of hats. Anybody watch Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures? Okay. When Ghost Hunters were here, they had the same kind of encounter with that older gentleman up here on the 3rd floor. And there's another encounter when we go down to the other rooms down there. So again, that's one of the main entities that people talk about up here on the 3rd floor tonight. We're going to go down to the other rooms down at the end of the hall. Great. So the other major entity here at the Lemp Mansion, and by the way, just so you know, the Lemp Mansion has been ranked as high as #4 as the most haunted hotel in America. And again, it's because of what the people have observed and the stories that they tell us. So what I'm telling you are stories that either I know have taken place, or stories that have been told to me. So that's why I'm passing this information on to you. But in these 2 rooms in particular, one of the other main entities here in the Lemp Mansion is an entity called Zeke. Anyone ever heard of Zeke? Sometimes called the Monkey Boy. We prefer with Zeke. Zeke got his start in 1983. 2 disc jockeys from St. Louis, guys named Steve and DC, were doing a Halloween seance up here in this room. They had a voice recorder and they asked the question, is there anyone here with us? And the voice that they and apparently most of St. Louis heard was, I am Zeke. So everybody said, well, who is Zeke? Where did he come from? So they started going through all of the Lemp records, all the family records. There is no record of a Zeke at all. However, from there, the urban legend basically got its start. And this is kind of what you will read if you go online and hook up with Zeke and the Lemp Mansion. And the story goes that Zeke was born as the illegitimate son of one of the Lemp family, early 1900s. When he was born with something that we would probably associate with Down syndrome. And because of that, he was considered to be an embarrassment to this very, very wealthy family in the early 1900s. And the story goes that because of that, he was forced to stay up here on the 3rd floor. His only playmates were the folks who actually worked in the mansion. Never allowed to go outside. Wasn't allowed to go to school. And the only thing that he did, as far as the communication with the outside world, is behind this door is a corridor, and it runs the entire length of the building. It comes around the back end of that back bedroom over there. And on the floor, there are windows. And what Zeke used to do was crawl along the floor here, crawl to the windows, and he would tap on the glass at the people that were passing by. He would wave to them, and that was basically his only way of communicating with the outside world. The story of Zeke ends when he was about 14, and the stories go that he was either pushed or fell from the third floor railing down to the basement. You'll see that drop as we're heading down the steps. And supposedly that was the end of Zeke. Well, of course it wasn't, because Zeke is still here, and many, many people have testified to that. What people usually say, especially in these two back rooms, is they will hear footsteps along that corridor back there. They'll hear tapping. Sometimes they'll hear like a scratching sound. But the one thing that people keep talking about is they keep hearing a child's voice say, "Come play with me," or "Help me, help me." And we've had several of the guests that we've done over the years that have either sent us an email or have told us if they're spending a couple nights, that's part of what they've been experiencing. One of the things we tell you tonight, if you're going to be spending some time, there's a little teddy bear up on a chair there. Take the teddy bear, put it down on the floor, tell Zeke if he wants to, he can play with it, and see in the morning and see if something possibly has moved that. Or put some other objects out there and see if he's moved them. One of probably the best stories I've heard, though, are from the people who actually work here at the Lemp. The folks that come in the morning, change out all the beds, make up all the rooms. They did a TV interview with them about 3 years ago, and they talked to these two ladies and talked about this floor in particular, and they said things are moved on them all the time. They said they come in, put a set of keys on there, go in, make up a bed, come back, the keys are moved away. Or they'll hear that voice that sounds like a child's voice at all times. So what I'm going to do now is give you about 5 minutes to go and do your own little investigation. You can go into any of the rooms up here. This is the closet, if you remember, from the Ghost Hunters, where Grant went in here, sat down in here, and had a conversation again with that older gentleman that we were talking about. So those are the two main entities up here on the third floor. Zeke and the older gentleman that really has not been assigned a name yet. People really don't want to give him a name because they're really not sure who he is. So I'll see you in about 5 minutes, and then we'll head down to the second floor.
That corridor, that's locked, yes.
It's blocked, and the way you could get to it was back around that corner there, but it is not completely blocked off, yes.
Okay.
Oh look, Coca-Cola, the most ghastly of all beverages. This is the room with the corridor there. I said you can hear Zeke in. Oh god. Okay, okay. Let's get haunted, babe. No, we're alone with the ghost. Okay, so apparently this is the closet that, which one did you say? Some, like, ghost adventurers or ghost hunters had a conversation with a ghost in here, so that's super spooky. Why that face? What are you thinking? What do you, are you getting haunted? Oh!
Is anybody locked in the closet?
Nope, almost.
All right, we're going to head on down to the second floor again. Be real careful on the steps, please. But you can see the drop that Zeke apparently took. It is a long fall.
Oh, Lord. Is that a piano? Can I play the ghost?
Everybody gather up here real quick, and then we'll walk around.
Sorry.
That's all right. You spending the night?
The piano, no. The piano was calling me.
Yeah, the piano is, and we'll tell everybody, but it's got a really neat little history to it. Unfortunately, it's not tuned, and it's really unfortunate. There was, I don't know, probably about a year ago, there was an 11-year-old girl up here, and her dad said she had been classically trained in piano, and she kept looking at the piano, and she said, "I just want to sit down, I want to play some Gershwin." And I said, "Be my guest," and we didn't know it, and when she started playing, everybody was horrified. That was the worst piano. I mean, she could have been playing a ragtime, you know, something or other.
Oh, no.
It was so terribly tuned. Come on in here real quick, please. You play piano? Or
I do. I mean, is it may I attempt to
yes,
play
you
it?
may.
Awesome.
As long as it's not chopsticks.
That's okay.
We're on the second floor. How many people are on the second floor? I know we have the folks from, yes, the folks from the lavender room. Who's spending the night in the William room? You're in the William room. Excellent. Okay. One thing we always like to point out so people know is that when it is working, and I don't know if it is tonight or not, this is a 24/7 ghost cam that they have up here, and it is basically, it shoots down the hallway, it shoots down the staircase. And I always like to say that there are people that watch that 24/7, I call them ghost nerds, and all they do is stare at that screen hoping to see something walking here at the Lemp Mansion. They probably haven't showered in about 3 weeks or so. What I always ask is if somebody up here on the second floor about 1 o'clock in the morning, just make a choice, just run down the hallway waving your hand, don't have to scream because they can't hear you, but just give them something to kind of validate all the time that they've watched in their lives, if you don't mind. In the Lemp Mansion on the second floor, anyone ever heard of the nursery?
Yes.
Great. This is the nursery, this room right here. It's the only room in the Lemp Mansion that has never been remodeled. When the Pointer family started doing their work on this, they've never remodeled this room. It's the only one that's kept under lock and key 24/7. And that is because the Pointer family believes that this is the center of all the paranormal activity here at the Lemp Mansion. The Elsa room is the most haunted, but this is where they believe the center to be. And it got that way, they got that feeling because of when they were doing renovations, the workers that were in there constantly complained about lights going on and off, doors opening and closing, tools being moved, seeing apparitions walking past the doorway. Another thing that we were told is that apparently this painting also freaked them out. It's one of those paintings that regardless of where you are in relation to the eyes, they look like they're looking at you. So again, Pointer family really big about not allowing anybody in here. So you say, okay, that's a great story, so what? How many people watch Ghost Adventures? Anybody watch Ghost Adventures? It's all right, you're on a haunted tour, you can admit it. Zach Baggins and the boys, you know, somebody gets possessed every 15 minutes. You got creatures up and down the wall, etc. A lot of drama. Zach and the boys contacted the Pointer family and said, we want to do an investigation here at the Lemp Mansion. We'll make you the centerpiece of our entire year's worth of investigations. Oh, by the way, we want to go into the nursery because we've heard so much about it. And the Pointer family said, nope, not letting you go in there. And the reason is that we know how you guys do business. You like to summon things. You like to get things stirred up. And then you leave, and then we have to deal with it. They said, we barely believe that whatever's in there doesn't want you to be a part of it. So they did not allow them to go into that room. So when you look at that 1 hour's worth of investigation with Zach and the Ghost Adventures guys, they had about 15 minutes in the house, and the rest of it was down in the brewery, in the caves, as I say, probably pouting because they could not get in there. That's how strongly the family believes in this room. So when I turn you loose after we've gone through the other rooms up here on the second floor, what I'd like each of you to do, come back to the door, take about 3 seconds, just put your hand on the door or the doorknob and see if you get any kind of a reaction off of it. Some people who have sensitivities, I've seen them pull their hand back like they were shocked. Some people, I have no sensitivities to this stuff, nothing. So this will give you kind of a little chance, though, to see possibly, if you can make a connection. Some people say to pick up a vibe off of that, and give you a chance to kind of check that on out. We're going to go into the Charles room here. If you'll follow me in, please. Interesting, you walked right to that spot. That's great. Thank you. So this is the Charles Suite, and as I said, in May of 1949, after living in this house for 20 years with his husband and wife cleaning team, this is the room specifically right where you're standing. Thank you very much. Is where Charles sat down after eating breakfast, pulled out a revolver, and he committed suicide. Does anybody know? Right there. Yep. What they used to allow us to do, before they put the couch in there, you could actually lift up the carpet, and with the UV light, you could see where the blood had pooled.
Oh my God.
But they put it over because they don't like to have that moved around anymore. Does anybody know what Charles did before he committed suicide? He had a revolver, correct, and he shot his dog basically where you're standing right here by the piano. So tonight, while you're up here on the second floor, a lot of folks have we had some photos that were taken, but Charles is usually associated with a very strong cigar smoke. So tonight, if you're anywhere in the building and you start to smell cigar smoke, it could be Charles. We've had some great photos that people have taken in the doorways here and other places too. But this is primarily where Charles kind of hangs out. We were talking about that piano that's down at the far end down there. That originally belonged to Charles. After a suicide, it was sold off, and then about 2.5 years ago, the family that owned it returned it back to the Pointer family. So that is an original piece of furniture here in the Lemp Mansion. The other thing is, this piano, sometimes people say at night they've heard it being played, so you might want to kind of be aware that maybe you'll hear some of the ivories being tickled down here in this room also.
Didn't I hear one of the guests say that they were gonna try playing piano?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
gonna.
Okay. Don't mind that ghost.
And I told her, I said the worst part, it's a baby grand, and the worst part about it is not tuned. And as I said, there was a little girl at 11 years old, classically trained. She sat down and played Gershwin, and it came out sounding like Charlie's Ragtime Band, but that's the piano's fault, not hers. So if you'll follow me, we're gonna go down to the lavender room. Excuse me. How many nights have you been here? Pardon? How many nights have you been here?
This is second.
Second night?
Yeah.
Can you say anything you'd like to share with the group?
Not from this group, but the previous is you got smells from here.
Okay.
Sleep, smells, cooking,
Perfect.
yeah, EVPs.
Good. The bad news is, this is the only one that has a bathroom up here on the second floor. So you, in fact, tonight, if you need to use the restrooms down the hall, you can wave to the camera as you're walking on that. I'm sure they'll appreciate it, trust me. This is known as the lavender room, and it was basically named after William Lemp Jr., or Billy, his first wife, Lillian Hadlin. And she always dressed in lavender. And there are two reasons. One is that people say she was trying to copy the way that the Russian princesses dressed. They were always in lavender. And the other one, and the one that I personally believe is true, is that her husband Billy absolutely hated the color lavender, and that's why she wore it every single day until the divorce in March of 1909 when she wore black. Part of the written testimony of that scandalous divorce was that when Billy was home at night sleeping in bed with her, he would have a loaded cocked pistol under his pillow pointed towards her head, and that's part of the written testimony that you can check. But before it was the lavender room, this is where William Lemp Sr. and his wife Julia resided, and this is basically the area in February of 1904 where William Lemp Sr. committed suicide, again after losing his favorite son and losing his best friend. 2 years later, though, his wife Julia died after a really bad battle of cancer back in this room back here where the bed is now located. So those are two entities that people say from time to time that they will pick up on. But specifically Julia, she's associated with being the lady in white in the Lemp Mansion. And that was one of the main reasons they put that camera in, because so many people said that they kept continuing to see and hear this lady walking up and down the hallway. So those are two other entities that you can look for tonight. We're going to go across the hall to the William room, the non-haunted room, as they say. So this is the William suite, and it's normally occupied within the Lemp, within the Lemp Mansion as being the non-haunted room because it doesn't have a suicide associated with it. It is not non-haunted. Okay, I can use a double negative. When the ghost hunter folks were here, this is the room where they captured many orbs from the ceiling to the bed while they were laying there. This is also the couch that when Grant was in here and Jason was in the other room, they were whispering words, and they were being able to pick it up because the entities apparently were carrying those words back and forth to them as they were in there. The other cool thing about this room is we had two separate families separated by a couple different months when they were spending time here. They told us basically the same story. They said about midnight there was a knock on the door, opened up the door, there was nobody there. The mom and dad were in here, the kids were sleeping in that room. 1 o'clock in the morning, same thing, a knock on the door, went to the door, opened up, nothing there, and that's when one of the children started yelling that something was grabbing her on the leg. And we've had some other stories about different things happening in these two rooms, and we think one of the contributing factors is that on that back wall back there, that's part of what the nursery. So part of that room and part of the mirror effect, etc., people have talked about seeing, things in the mirrors, but mostly orbs and apparitions back and forth in this room. So it may not have had a suicide, but it does have some interesting things to look for tonight and see what happens from there. What I'm going to do now is turn you loose for about 5 minutes up here. Again, you go down to that door at the nursery, try and see if you can get anything, any kind of connection.
Okay, so this is the nursery. Apparently it's like super fucking haunted. things, but I don't know. Maybe I feel some bad vibes. I feel bad juju in here. Okay, so this is like the really old baby grand piano. It's apparently really out of tune.
Get something off of it if you want to.
Yes, that'd be great. Can you hold this
Yep,
and film
I
with
gotcha.
mine? Okay.
And try not to play it real loud if you don't mind, but. But I can see it's the piano, it's definitely not me. When they're standing down at the end down there, they'll be taking photos and they'll see like a shadow down here against the window. And we don't know if it's Charles or somebody else, but because that was his piano, so it's kind of like a trigger item once you're on a second floor.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Check this painting. Oh my god. Oh god. I know, right? It's haunted, but it's amazing.
Without the camera.
Yeah.
I was curious.
The camera just obviously amplifies it, but it was close enough to the door, like I said, where you can see the full shadow of the picture being taken and it's not being covered up by the flash. So a lot of interesting, fun things to do on the second floor if you're not being chased around by Zeke or something. Everybody have cameras at the door? We're gonna head on down to the basement then, if you follow me, please.
Were you seeing it? Are you right there? Oh, I was asking it to you.
Go touch the door, babe. Go touch the door. I'll film you. Tell me if you feel juju. You feel anything? Oh, you have no sensitivities. Oh wait, it's the Mona Lisa. Oh my god, they're right. Literally, her eyes were looking at me on that side, and they are on this side too.
So I brought you back here not so that you have to buy merchandise or anything, but again, this is, as somebody mentioned, this is one of 3 vaults that the Lemp family built into this house. There's one exactly the same size above, one exactly the same size below. And again, they were very, very wealthy. This is where they kept their money, where they kept a lot of the art that they had. Charles, for all of his, things that he had going on, he was a big-time art dealer. He used to, in fact, work art exchange programs with Vincent Price back in the day, so pretty cool. You saw the piano that was upstairs. These are the only other 2 pieces of furniture that are original to the Lemp house, this and this piece down here. So that was combined with the piano are the 3 original pieces. Tonight, and on your way out, if you haven't checked out the ladies' room, you want to check out the ladies' room here on the 1st floor. A couple reasons. Number one, when you walk in, you see all the really cool furnishings in there. Those were purchased by the Lemp family when they were on vacation in Italy. They liked it so much they bought it out of the hotel they were staying in, shipped it back here. It's supposed to be the first freestanding shower in St. Louis, so that's number one. Number two, several years ago, I think about 4 years ago, somebody was really bored on the newspaper staff, and so they tried to do a poll of the most interesting bathrooms in St. Louis. That came in number 7. So if you get a picture of that, take it to work tomorrow, because nobody else will have that picture. From a paranormal side, though, that used to be Billy's personal bathroom when this was working areas down here. And ladies have said that from time to time when they're in there, they feel like there's a presence in there with them. We've had a couple of ladies who have shown us pictures of shadows standing back in the corner. So just something else. We're all done with the tour tonight. Just check out the ladies' room, and you never know what you might find. If you'll follow me, we're going to go on down to the basement. So obviously we're down in the basement area. Really not a lot of changes were done down here by the Pointer family, other than to kind of clean it up a little bit. The kitchen's always been down here, but one of the historical pieces, this is the last piece of the elevator system that still remains that the Lemp family put in 1904. They took out that staircase that you see up there now that went from the first to the second floor. They took that out. They wanted to be high-tech, so they put an elevator system that ran from the basement up to the second floor. It remained until the Pointer family purchased this place in 1975. It was in such bad condition, they tore everything out except for that one piece to leave it in there to just kind of show where that was, and then they put the staircase back on in. I want to take you back to the Rathskeller room here, so follow me, please. So if you could floor tonight, you want to do something different with your investigations, you might want to come on down here and spend a little time down here in the basement area. This in particular is the last of the remaining entrances that the Lemp family used to use. They went down spiral staircase into a tunnel system that ran all the way underneath the street, all the way underneath to the brewery. They never had to step outside to get back and forth from work. And the brewery itself is built over huge caves, and the reason for that was that they would pull the ice chunks in off the river, and that's how they would use it for refrigeration of the beer. But once they got mechanical refrigeration, that's when the Lemp family decided, hey, let's make better use of these caverns and caves. They built a heated swimming pool, a full-size auditorium with lighting and seating for about 70 people. They had a billiards room and a cigar room, and that is where they had all of their major parties down in the cave system, which is one of the reasons when you look at this mansion, it does not have a designated ballroom because all of their main activities were held down there in the cave system. Now, once Charles was dead in 1949, those caves kind of remained vacant until a man named Lee Hess purchased them, and he turned them into the Cherokee Cave attraction that was pretty well known in St. Louis during the 50s and early 60s. But after I-55 went through there, a lot of that was demoed, and people always ask me, can you go down there? And I always say legally no. But every once in a while somebody shows us a picture, and all you basically see is maybe just a little dugout now that used to be the swimming pool itself. And the reason I say tonight, if you're interested in coming down here and spending some time, this is the only place I've ever had an experience here at the Lemp Mansion. When we're all done with the tour tonight, if you turn your cameras, if you want to see, I have a short little video, it's about 30 seconds. I'm standing here basically giving a presentation, and they capture a white figure comes from the wall towards my shoulder up here on the stage, and goes back to the wall. And when I first saw it, I thought it had to be a curtain or something, but obviously there's no window there. So tonight, this is kind of a neat place. It doesn't get a lot of publicity about things happening down here, but people have seen full apparitions down here. I know I have. So tonight, if you get bored up on the second and third floors, come on down here with a drink or something and kind of relax a little bit down here and see what else you might find.
What was it for?
This area down here was when the Lemp family was here. This was basically all kitchen, and this was where the house ate. So the folks that took care of laundry, folks that did all the gardening, etc., this was basically their area to eat. The Lemp family primarily lived on the first and second floor. And then in 1904, they converted all of that first floor to office space.
And it was out that door somewhere that, with the base, the stairs went to the cave?
That came right through here. This is supposed to be the last of the entrances.
Oh, right.
What they did is they covered
Right
it up.
there?
Yep, and what you could do is you would go down a spiral staircase. There's a couple different entrances. This is supposed to be the last of them. They would go down the spiral staircase into the cave system that ran again underground all the way down to the cave, or to the brewery itself. Some people, we've had some sensitives in this room. They say they still pick up some of the party feeling, if you will, that comes from there because of all the things that happened down there during the early 1900s. So I'm gonna give you a couple minutes here to take some photos, and then we will head back upstairs to where we started. Any last questions or anything?
I support the roses. Any ghosts in here? Or just kitchen supplies? Any ghosties so far? No? Honestly, I mean, I don't like explicitly feel anything, but I don't know. If we're talking vibes though, it's another story. I feel like I felt some weird off juju. It's all about the vibes, man. Okay, so we just finished up the tour and we're about to go upstairs. It was really good. It was thrilling. We saw some good sights. Got some great historical info. It was a good experience. Seriously. I'm buying mine. Yeah.